So go kill decision is made because this is still a good project. It gets an approval and it gets passed on to detailed level scoping. I'm talking probably a blueprint and the bill of materials. This is the layout of the first floor. This is the layout of the second floor. This is the exact square footage of the house. These are the ingredients we will need, the bill of materials, etc. In software terms, this is called requirement specification, software requirement specification, or system requirement specification. You guys, probably most of you are familiar with that, right? The previous one was vision and scope document. Project gets estimated, with a very tight range right now, plus minus maybe 15%. Here is the thing that can happen here. It is entirely, so this was phase 1, this was phase 2. In phase 3, we might discover, it's completely plausible, that marketing comes back to us and says, you know what, revenue projections, actually, we have to revise them. We don't think we're going to be able to sell the house for 100K. I think they were too optimistic. I think now we're going to be able to sell the house for 75K. And then your technical team, who just looked at the entire detailed requirement specification document, comes back to you and says, dude, it's going to cost 80K. What just happened to the project? It went from wildly profitable to 75 minus 80. I'm not going to do the math. Less than 0%. The problem in according to that numbers I mentioned initially, about 90% of the companies, once the project gets approval here, with those numbers, rarely do people come back and look at those revised estimates throughout the life cycle of the project. It's kind of like a runaway train. Once it starts running, it never stops. Sticking to this, let's assume that no, we indeed confirm that it was 100K over 50K. So we get a go-ahead over here. And we go into the execution and control stages. Again, it's the job of the project manager and the technical team to execute the project. And while project is being executed, project manager manages, monitors it, and reports back. Nothing has changed. The project is still delivering value. The project is still preserving the balance that we want, and it is still strategically aligned, which can change, with the economy changing. And only as long as, and this part can happen multiple times, right? Because execution stage can take, 3, 6, 9 months, etc. So quickly, what happens with our PPM? Very quickly, I'll go through that. Reluctance to kill projects. Many projects are added to the list, kind of make everyone happy. With that, you have too many projects and resources are thinly spread. When you have too many projects, resources are thinly spread, quality suffers. As a result, increased time to market and higher failure rates. If you have weak decision points, reluctance to kill, one of the terms that I like to use, and people hate me for that, called drowning the puppies. But if you think of it, each one of the executives who initiated the project treats that particular project as a puppy, but unfortunately you have to drown some of them in order to, for the rest of the puppies to make it. Too few stellar product winners. If you don't have a rigorous selection process, wrong projects will get selected. You will end up selecting Segways and not the iPods and iPhones. No strategic criteria for project selection. Projects will not be strategically aligned. You will end up doing a lot of stuff that you shouldn't be doing in the first place. So conclusions. We have to be able to scope projects properly in order to be able to estimate them. We have to be able to estimate projects in order to assess their value very frequently, those examples, and assess organizational throughput capacity. We have to assess their values in order to be able to select the best projects. Remember that black and white chart that we just went through? This is basically the summary of it. And we have to possess proper management, monitoring, and control, which is domain of project management, in order to be able to deliver these good ideas to successful completion. Now, quick case study. Tell me if it ever happens at your place. So at your companies. Bob, director of mobile, we're talking about mobile phone company. Bob, director of mobile devices, and Michael, senior vice president of product development. So they bump into each other in the hallways, and Michael goes, "What's new in mobile phones?" Bob goes, "Well, we're working on our new notebook product that is going to have advanced word editing." By the way, completely fake product. I mean, it doesn't exist. Word editing, spreadsheet, and email capabilities. By the way, I've just read in the press release that our competitor, Nokia, is introducing a new cell phone with a 15 megapixel camera and 1,000 gigabyte storage for media files. Again, it doesn't exist. Just fake phone. Michael's response, "Oh my God, they have beaten us again. We can't let this happen. I want you to concentrate on the improved camera and storage capabilities. We have an industry exhibit in January, and I want you to come up with a prototype that would outperform the device that Nokia just released. Get the design and engineering teams to work on it with you. This is a top priority from now on." Do you see any problems with this? And if you do, what are the problems? Just going to get some water. The company in question, what kind of cell phones do you think they're producing? Entertainment or business?
Business.
Right. Word editing, spreadsheet, and email capabilities. 15 megapixel camera, 1,000 gigabyte storage for music. What kind of phone is that? Entertainment. Right. Basically, it's kind of like a prototype of BlackBerry against iPhone, more or less. What are the problems with dropping everything and trying to beat the competitor? If you were Bob, what would be the questions popping up in your head right away? Why? Strategic alignment. We're in business of producing business phones. What the hell are we doing in entertainment? What else?
Where should I look for a job?
What else?
Something completely different. There is a big disconnect between the director of mobile devices and the vice president of product development. So if Michael didn't know about what Bob is doing, there is a problem right there. Especially if they're trying to prepare for the release, which means that it's probably in final stages.
So if you were Bob, what other questions would pop up in your head? Resourcing, technical?
It seems like anything that they would have gained on this notebook is going to be tossed aside, maybe temporarily or permanently, and put into a high-risk situation where they may not gain anything.
Resources? Let me give you, all of the points that you made are correct. Let me just give you a summary. Is this a good decision in the first place? We are in business phones. What the hell are we doing going into the entertainment type of phones? What is the opinion of technical experts? What marketing people will have to say? Would we be able even to sell, considering our image as a business phone company? How important is this project to the goals of the company? Well, if 90% of our revenues are coming from business type cell phones, are we going to make a lot of money? Alignment with strategy. How good is this project? Are we going to make money on it? What is the cost? What is the risk? The $1 million question that Bob should be asking, where will I get the resources for the project? I'm assuming they're operating at full capacity, right?
Do we have the slide?
No. This was kind of the exercise slide. What project should be bumped? Plus everything that you have said. Let me give you an example. It took me 3 years to get to this point, to actually have it all. Do I have project selection? Yes. And you will see in a second how I do that. Are projects done on time? Not all of them, but the most important ones, the ones that have the high priority, obviously done on time. The high priority ones, the highest priority ones are, surprise, surprise, billable hours projects. Right? because I have to generate revenues as my company. Rest of them have less priority. Value ingredients. Financial variable, for sure. And I'm looking at revenue, specifically. Not profit, revenue, because in consulting business, profits, costs are pretty insignificant. It's typically the revenue side. I look at competitive advantage. Is it currently being offered on the market? Because if there are 50 products out there that are being, or services on the market that are being offered, maybe it does not have a very high value to me, because I'm going to be going against very stiff competition. I'm looking for something that people don't have. Portfolio management is one of the perfect examples. Very few consultants out there offer portfolio management services. Market attractiveness, is it in demand? Yes, it is. Microsoft just added portfolio management module to the Microsoft Project Server 2010. And that was, by the way, one of the reasons my book got picked up, the idea. Strategic alignment. Is it in project management or project portfolio management domains? If it's not, I'm not going into that. What is my strategy? Remain profitable and continue growing the business by becoming an internationally recognized project portfolio management authority or expert. What is the breakdown of projects? The ones in black is real one, the red one is the one where I want to be. Now, in a perfect world, obviously hands-on consulting work, aka billable hours, I want it to be at 100%. But when you think about it, in the consulting business, you cannot be at 100% all billable hours, because the next year it will go down to 50 or 25, because you have to promote your own business. And you can't do it through advertisement in yellow pages or advertisement in magazines, etc., etc. It's word of mouth, it's speaking at the conferences, it's speaking at events like this. So I'm spending about, last year I spent 20%, this year, 2010 and 2009, I spent about 20% of my time dealing with writing a book, writing articles, etc., etc. I want that number to come down to 5 to 10% in 2011, 2012. Speaking at the conferences and events, I was doing quite a lot of it in 2009 and 2010. I want that number to come down a little bit. Development of new courses and workshops, I want to spend a little bit more time on that. Why? Because I'm going to generate revenue from that. Make sense so far? These things are mainly marketing, done for marketing. Again, in consulting business, you can't go with advertising, especially in mine, management consulting, with advertisement in yellow pages. Or it's word of mouth. It's becoming the knowledge expert. Do I have strategic resource planning? Yes, but it's very easy, because there's only one Jamal. And there are about 2,000 to 2,500 man hours in a year, and I just have to divide them accordingly. Priority is given to billable hours projects.
About 1,600.
That's when you work 9 to 5. When you own your own business, it's
But don't you have another job?
No.
Oh, I thought you had another job.
BCIT?
No,
Oh, it's 3 hours a week, and it's done between 6:45 in the evening and 9:45 in the evening. Plus, you add Saturdays and Sundays and nights sometimes. Do I have a portfolio funnel? Yes, I have a portfolio funnel. I start the year with a whole bunch of ideas, and then as new projects come in, I tend to discard the older ones. Make sense? Now, we have 1 hour and 45 minutes remaining. Shall we split 1 hour? Sorry, 1 hour and 15 minutes. Shall we?